Building momentum.
Hello everybody! Today I sat here because I was gonna talk about my master in human rights in Norway, and many people ask me about how did I get there, how did I apply for it, if I recommend it, etc. And I thought that it would be a good idea to have a video that compiled information about this. And then this represents my mood right now. I sat here to update information, like what's the TOEFL and IELTS score that you need to enter into the university, the amount of money and that you need for the visa. And so I found out, I entered into the website of the University of Oslo, and there was a warning. And the warning said that the government of Norway is considering applying tuition fees for foreign students. And by foreign students, they mean those that are not from EU countries, those that are not nationals or citizens of EU countries or Switzerland. All the rest of the world then would have to pay a tuition fee. And that surprised me so much, and that made me so angry. And that's why I completely changed what I was gonna talk about in the video. And I wanna talk about this. And I wanna talk both to the people that are as irritated and disappointed about this as I am, and to those that are not. And here's a list of arguments that the minister Ola Borten Moe, how is it correct?
I don't know his name.
Ola Borten Moe from Senterpartiet, so from the Center Party. Here's the list of arguments that some of his arguments.
Farmers Party. Farmers Party.
Farmers, that's his translation. Well, here are some arguments that they are proposing, or some comments that he made. And I'm using Aftenposten, a Norwegian well-known newspaper, as a source. I also looked at NRK and at Schengen visa info, and that one I'm not familiar with. So that one I will specifically say when I'm quoting this one, because it's in English. I'm not familiar with this website, and I don't know how correct the information from there is. But we'll see. So I'm gonna let you know so that the information is as precise as possible. I will start with the Schengen visa information. It explains that Ulle has said that Norway would be better equipped to attract students because of quality and will, and no longer attract students only because the education is free. So I thought this was very interesting. First, apparently there is the self-esteem of the Norwegian government with regards to Norwegian education so low that they think that they are just attracting foreign students because of the education being free. I went to Norway because it was a human rights semester, because of the high quality of the university, because it stands so high in the QS ranking. It was from on the top 50 to top 100 law faculties in the world. So the quality was really good, and the quality of the master program as well. And the fact that it was free, it was a factor that I considered it was something good, and this speaks a lot to human rights. The fact that it is free, it meant that it would foster equality. It meant that it would be an university, in theory, that was concerned about representativeness, about being open. And you just have to close a little bit the window because it's raining on the computer. So the first sentence, that Norway will be better equipped to attract students because of quality and not because it's free, it talks as if quality and will and something being free are completely distinct things. Well, it can easily be two sides of the same coin. When I chose to come to Norway, I had been accepted also for an LLM in NYU. And those that are from law, you know that NYU is very good. And I didn't choose Norway only because it's free. I chose because of its quality, because of my will, and because it's free. Because it's not everybody that has the privilege of being born in a family that can easily pay for tuitions, or that has the privilege of being born in a country that has such a stable economy that would mean that your family could get a loan, or that you yourself could get a loan, and you know that you will be able to pay that loan. Then Ulle said that in the vast majority of cases, this is what happens. First, that's not a reason. If you're gonna act in a certain way just because in the vast majority of cases this is what happened, then we're not gonna change the word at all. Then we're not gonna become vegetarians or vegans because the vast majority of cases people eat meat. Then we're not gonna work with the environment because in the vast majority of cases people don't really care about climate change. Then we would not change slavery because in the vast majority of cases at that time, many centuries ago, this was accepted. So is this your argument, Ulle Barton Moe? Because that's just irritating and wrong. Secondly, what is the vast majority of cases that you're analyzing? Is it Europe? Is it the EU? Are you considering outside of the EU? Brazil, for example, it is free. We have free educations. We have free education and we don't even pay a semester fee because the Supreme Court decided that it was unconstitutional to pay a semester fee because it was not everybody that could pay such a fee, and to have it as a need for everybody to enroll in the university meant that you were excluding people that were so essential for the country. We're excluding them from education. It's not just a gift that you're not giving them. I'm not giving you the gift of education in our great university. That's not it. You're losing them. You're losing all the knowledge that they bring. Again, irritating remarks. Mr. Ulle Barton Moe said, there's no reason to think that those that come here are the poorest persons in the world. Definitely, there is no reason to think that, and you're making sure that it's really not that's gonna happen. To come to Norway today, you have to pay the following amount of money, and that's not to pay, but you have to deposit it with the university, the following amount of money, and this is in a scenario in which there is no tuition fee. 128,887 Norwegian kroners per year, and that is equivalent to approximately 12,285.15 euros. What does it mean that you have to deposit this money? It means that when you get accepted to Norway, to study in Norway, you have to get a visa. When you put that threshold to get a visa, you already select those that can study in Norway. It's already the elite. When, in addition to this, you set a tuition, and that tuition, it could be, they haven't decided what it is. I see here from NRK that they're saying that it would be, that the government would be considered 130,000 kroners. That is more than 12,000 euros. Is that per year? If it is per year, then to come to Norway, you would have to be in a family that is able to pay around 13,000 euros for tuition plus deposit in full and just in one day 12,000 euros. Who are the people that can do that? If you want to be a university open for students that come from the most different backgrounds, because you know that the students, not only you want to grant them the opportunity to come to your university, but also you know that the university itself, it grows with different experience from different students, and that those that don't come from the most privileged financial backgrounds, that they will have a knowledge and an experience that is present in their education, in their ability to see problems that people that don't have the same experience won't, the ability to solve issues that other people will not even notice. Norway criticizes the US for not having free education and free healthcare, but you're making it as well, but with a difference. You're differentiating based on nationality, and if you think that nationality is by itself a reason to differentiate in whatsoever space of life, then I recommend that you see a video that we have already made, and you can see it. We're gonna try to put it somewhere. I don't know if it appears up or down, but have a look at it. Apparently here, have a look at it because we discussed this issue there. And the last one, which perhaps is my favorite, I know that I have it here. He said, we don't provide healthcare or trygdesystemet, social security, or social security to foreigners. So now we're just doing the same with education. This is utterly illogical. Of course, you don't provide pension rights for those that are foreigners, because, and he gave great examples. A person coming from Iran or China is not granted the right for Norwegian health or Norwegian pension system. So it's the same with education. Okay, so many incorrect remarks on this. Pension rights this right is intrinsically connected to another scenario that is prior to the granting of the pension rights, which is to work in Norway and to pay tax. Then you are granted pension rights. I, as a Brazilian, if I start working in Norway and paying taxes, I am participating in the pension system. So yes, if someone from Iran and China or Switzerland or the EU, shouldn't make a difference, and it doesn't, works in Norway and pay taxes, yes, they will be granted ULE, health and pension rights. So the comparison about health and pension system, which are systems that are intrinsically linked to the fact that you have a residence in Norway and you're paying taxes and you're living there and therefore you have pension, and the complete health system, not just for emergencies but for everything, it doesn't have any connection with education. Education, it just means that Norway is open for applicants from every country in the world. And the question is, you're open to whom? Are you open to the elite? You already have a requirement that you have to pay, to deposit a large amount of money to get a visa. So you're already aiming at the elite. And in addition to this, when you have the tuition fee, you're just not saying this. You don't even need to say it. That's the issue, because that's what happens in practice. And maybe you say, no, but perhaps you can give scholarships, such as the one that existed in Norway the year before I entered into the University of Oslo. You could apply for a scholarship as long as you return to your country of origin for the next 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone that applied for a university knows that the amount of scholarships that universities give, they are very limited. Very, very limited. Scholarships are not for everybody. They are too limited. They are insufficient. And the differentiation you're making in one of the richest countries in the world, it excludes, it marginalizes. And I thought that Norway was bigger than this. And in Brazil, we don't have the money that Norway has. We have free education. It's not, if even Brazil, I love this kind of analysis about a sufficient and necessary reason. I was reading a text from Karen Alturn and Lawrence Helfer, and they were discussing what a sufficient and necessary reason meant. And every time they could get an example that showed that the rule did not apply, they said, therefore, we see that having this X number of criteria, it's not sufficient to mean that the outcome Y is gonna happen. So it's the same thing. If countries that have a much lower economic sustainability and capability than Norway, such as Brazil, are able to offer free education, it is not true that providing free education by itself means that the country is going to enter into a significant economic deficit and won't be able to have a university of quality. Norway has it. It has university of quality and fosters equality by acting in this way. It fosters change. It is ahead of its time, not backwards. Norway is not in a backwards position. But you're walking backwards now with this proposition. And I urge everybody that's in Norway to take a stand, to talk about this, to make political pressure, to know that this is not okay, this is not the Norway you want. And by the way, this is coming from a left government, a left coalition. Norway just went, it's no longer with a conservative government, it's in a left government, and I'm so surprised that this has been considered in such a serious degree that the website of the university itself is stuck. Has this wording. There's still time to change. It's so much harder to go back once the change has been made. So it's time to stop now. So please share. Please talk about this. If you don't think the video is good, then make your own and just let's talk about this, because this doesn't have anything to do with our channel. It just has to do with the fact that we can have a better and more equal world, and we can be less arrogant with our privileges. It's another way of thinking. Are we thinking about solidarity? Of how we are taking part in the promotion of a more sustainable world, fostering education, amplifying opportunities from students coming all over, coming sometimes from countries that do not yet have a master, for example, in human rights or in their field of specialization. When you're reducing more and more the universities that treat equally EU students from non-EU students in terms of tuition, you're restricting more and more education opportunities for people from outside the EU. There are less and less places where people that are brilliant, that perhaps are going to become Nobel Prize winners, where they can go and specialize more and more in their fields and perhaps take this back to their country of origin or stay in the place where they study, work in the university, produce knowledge that will reverberate in the world as a whole. So I think that it's another way of thinking. One is very protectionist of only its nationals and is thinking in a limited form. And just recall, I think it's very important that we make this clear in our heads and minds. This is not a gift from us to others. It is also a gift from others to us, because having their experience, their knowledge, that is invaluable. That's actually a reasoning from the Brazilian Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court was discussing the constitutionality of quota systems for racial groups, the court said that when you're applying a quota system, you're saying not only that grades are important, yes, your academic background, but also what you bring to the university, what you offer the state. And in this case, as a black and brown person, you bring forth first representativeness, and secondly, the ability that derives from coming from a different background, a different reality, and that allows you to analyze social problems and structural issues that other people from privileged backgrounds could not. And it's natural that they will not be able to see that, because they are not subject to certain forms of oppression which are made invisible to their reality. And people who come from a different background in which oppression is very present, they are able to identify this. They will have a different possibility to enter into certain dialogues and to find solutions. And I argue that the same reason is applicable in this case with regards to the tuition fees. By having a system that is not restricted to the elite, you amplify the groups that are in the university. As a master student from human rights, I had the opportunity to see how much we profit from having a diverse environment. In my case, I had a diverse environment with regard to the academic background of my colleagues. We were a multidisciplinary master program and we had people from different fields. That made such a big difference in our teaching. And the Norwegian Center knew that because they created this program in this way. The only point that we missed, the only gap, well, not the only gap, but an important gap, was that we didn't have regional representativeness. We didn't have economic representativeness. We had mostly people from Europe, few people from Asia, one from India, Singapore, and South Korea. Just me from Latin America. And just one person from Africa. That is way too little, and there is a reason for this. It's called economy, financial resources. Norway already has a big obstacle with the deposit that you have to make to get your visa if you're not from the EU. Norway knows, the master program in human rights knew how diversity is a key factor in promoting knowledge and development. And diversity is not only with regards to your academic background, whether you're from law or anthropology or social science. It is also about where you come from. It's about how economically privileged you are or are not. This is, in Portuguese we have this expression that says tiro no pé, which is shooting your own feet. Is it the same in English?
At least in Norwegian, shooting yourself in the
Well,
foot.
you're shooting yourself in the feet, but you're mostly shooting certain principles, such as solidarity and, more than empathy, a different vision about economic development and about what a university is and how it is going to be administered and developed further. So I ask you to, I hope that this change does not take place, because it is very painful as someone who studied human rights in Norway to see this, and it's very painful to see this coming from a left coalition. It's disappointing.